Kylie Jenner. You definitely know the name, you've seen the headlines, probably scrolled past a million
Oh,
photos.
yeah. Impossible to miss.
But today, we're looking past, the surface level stuff. We want to take a proper deep dive into the journey of Kylie Kristen Jenner.
Born August 10th, 1997.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because when you really look at the whole picture, her rise is, well, it's a really fascinating case study in modern fame, and you can't deny it, entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. We've got a pretty detailed source here covering her life and career, and honestly, there's a lot more going on than just the celebrity shine.
Right. You might know Kylie from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, obviously.
Or Kylie Cosmetics, the makeup empire.
Or just, being huge on social media. But our mission here, our deep dive, is to really get under the skin of it. What were the key things behind her rise?
Yeah, what drove that ascent? We're going to trace it all, basically. From her early years, growing up in that unique environment, right up to where she is now, this kind of global influencer.
Yeah.
Systematically break it down.
And our source gives us that great chronological view. Starts right at the beginning, family background, and walks us through the big moments, the decisions.
The highs and the lows, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Chapter 1. The beginning of a star. And I mean, what a beginning, right? Born in L.A. into the Kardashian-Jenner family. It doesn't get much more well-known.
No, you're right. The fame was already there, wasn't it? Her parents, Caitlyn Jenner, who, was Bruce Jenner, the Olympic champion from '76.
The decathlon gold medalist, yeah.
And Kris Jenner, already known from her marriage to Robert Kardashian and, well, the whole O.J. Simpson trial connection. So they weren't exactly starting from scratch in terms of public profile.
Not at all. And then you've got all the siblings. Kourtney, Kim, Khloe, Rob Kardashian from Kris's first marriage.
And her full sister, Kendall.
And Kylie's the youngest of them all.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine growing up as the baby in that family, constantly in the spotlight. Her childhood just wasn't normal. Cameras, luxury, from day one, basically.
And appearing on TV at 10 years old, that early exposure, constant exposure, really, you have to think that shapes everything, how you see the world, how you interact.
Which leads right into Keeping Up with the Kardashians. 2007, she's 10. And the show just exploded, didn't it?
It really did. Billions of people watching their daily lives, or at least, the version shown on TV.
And the source mentions Kylie was initially quite quiet on the show, more in the background.
Yeah, which is interesting. Was she naturally reserved or just overshadowed by the older, louder personalities? But you see her grow up on screen, her personality develops, her confidence, her style. It all happens in front of the cameras.
She literally builds her own fan base while navigating adolescence on TV. Wild.
Completely. And her education reflects that, too. Sierra Canyon School first, then homeschooling.
Right. To fit in modeling, the show, business stuff starting up.
Graduated via homeschool in 2015. It just shows how different her path was. But even then, the source says she wanted her own identity, not just Kim's little sister.
You can understand that. She wanted to be her own person.
Definitely. And you see those early steps, like modeling with Kendall, their joint fashion line, Kendall plus Kylie. She was already trying to carve out her own space.
And then the lips.
Yeah.
That became a huge focal point.
Oh, massive public attention. Remember all the speculation?
Totally. She denied using fillers at first, then eventually admitted it. But here's the clever part, right? Instead of just letting the controversy swirl, she saw a business angle.
Exactly. She took something really personal, something people were fixated on, and thought, okay, people want this look. She recognized the demand she herself had created.
Which led directly to the Kylie lip kit in 2015. Liquid lipstick, matching liner, sold on her website.
And boom, sold out instantly.
Less than a minute, the source says. Less than 60 seconds.
Unreal. She's just 18 and she suddenly launched this makeup phenomenon. It wasn't just luck. She'd built this connection, this demand.
Incredible start.
Yeah.
Okay, chapter 2. The rise of a beauty empire. Because that lip kit was clearly just the beginning. She didn't just sit back.
Not at all. Kylie Cosmetics just kept expanding. Eyeshadows, highlighters, blush, concealers, more lip stuff.
And everything kept selling outright.
Yeah.
That became the pattern. New drop, instant sellout.
Pretty much. It showed the incredible demand was sustained. And a huge part of that was her marketing.
Right. She was the marketing, using her own Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, talking directly to her fans. No need for traditional ads.
Exactly. That direct connection was key. By 2018, she had, over 100 million Instagram followers? That's direct access to a massive customer base.
It really changed the game for beauty marketing, didn't it? Bypassing the old ways. Her just showing the products, using them, that was the ad.
Definitely. And then the collaborations added another layer.
Oh, yeah. The ones with Kim, Chloe, Courtney, and Jordan Woods, her best friend at the time. Those collections were huge, too.
Super smart. Tapped into their fan bases, created extra buzz. It felt personal, like an inside look.
Then came the really big business move in 2019, selling that majority stake to Coty Inc.
Yeah, 51% for around $600 million. That valued Kylie Cosmetics at almost $1.2 billion.
Which led to the Forbes cover, youngest self-made billionaire at 21.
And that, of course, kicked off a massive debate about what self-made actually means, given her background.
Oh, for sure. Huge controversy, but it also just made her even more famous, didn't it?
Absolutely. Coty brought resources, global reach. It was a major step up. But it wasn't all smooth sailing.
No. The source mentions challenges, scandals. That situation in 2019 with Jordan Woods and Chloe's boyfriend, Tristan Thompson.
Right. That must have been incredibly difficult personally, playing out so publicly. It shows the pressure, the complexities of those relationships under that kind of spotlight.
And amidst all this business and drama, she becomes a mother.
Yeah, her relationship with Travis Scott, the pregnancy in 2017, kept very quiet for a long time.
Until Stormy was born in February 2018, and then that To Our Daughter video on YouTube.
That was huge. So personal, so emotional. Millions and millions of views. It was a masterful way to control the narrative and share the news on our own terms.
It really shifted her image, I think. Made her seem more relatable, maybe. Balancing fame, business, motherhood.
And that on-again, off-again relationship with Travis Scott, but always co-parenting. That's a dynamic a lot of people could understand, even if the scale is different.
Definitely. And the brand kept growing too, right? Kylie Skin launched.
Yep, skincare, logical next step, then baby products later on. And talking more about sustainability, inclusivity in the lines.
So she wasn't just sticking to makeup, expanding the empire.
Constantly evolving, adapting to what consumers wanted, moving into new areas.
Which takes us nicely into Chapter 3, Fame, Family, and the Future. Because by this point, she's not just a celebrity, she's a global brand.
Totally. Everything she does, every post, it's news. And people have strong opinions about her, good and bad.
She's clearly mastered social media. The curated Instagram feed feels personal to millions. But the source also says she started talking more about the downsides.
Yeah, the pressure, the scrutiny, the negative comments about her looks, feeling insecure sometimes. A bit more openness about the challenges of that level of fame.
It feels like a move towards maybe more authenticity. The occasional makeup-free post, talking about motherhood, beauty standards.
It could be. Maybe recognizing the power of being a bit more real, connecting on that level beyond just the perfect image.
And the business seems to be maturing too. Focus on quality, cruelty-free, vegan formulas, better packaging.
Reflecting broader industry trends, for sure. Consumers care more about that stuff now, and brands have to respond to stay relevant.
Then came baby number 2 with Travis Scott.
Right, born February 2nd, 2022, initially announced as Wolf.
Then later revealed as Heir in March 2023. Another huge life event happening very publicly.
And again, sharing that journey, even in a controlled way, deepens that connection with her audience.
And she seemed to talk even more about motherhood, changing her perspective, wanted to be a good role model, focusing on inner qualities for her kids.
Yeah, that became a more prominent theme. Motherhood often shifts priorities, and she seemed to emphasize that desire to instill different values.
Which fits with launching Kylie Baby, too. Another brand extension, tapping into that mom demographic.
Makes perfect sense strategically, leveraging her own experience, building on the trust she already had.
And we also see her becoming more involved in high fashion.
Definitely. Front row at major shows, Paris, Milan, collaborating with designers. Her style choices always make headlines.
It broadens her influence beyond just beauty, elevates the brand image again.
For sure. And it's interesting to contrast how she approaches fame now versus the early KUWTK days.
Right, the new show, The Kardashians on Hulu. She seems much more controlled, more selective about what she shares, more boundaries.
Yeah, a conscious effort to keep some things private, especially concerning the kids. It shows an evolution in how she manages her public profile.
The source also hints she's more involved creatively now, in the visuals, the design for her brands, experimenting more.
Suggests she's not just the face, but really invested in the direction, and hints of maybe moving beyond beauty and skincare eventually. Fashion, wellness.
Always looking ahead, it seems. Building a legacy that lasts, feeling more confident in who she is beyond the public image.
That seems to be the trajectory, moving from reacting to fame to actively shaping her own long-term narrative and brand.
Okay, chapter 4. The power of influence. This is where we look at the bigger picture, the impact she's had. The source calls her a symbol of a new era, fame, beauty, business all rolled into one.
Yeah, blending personal style, family, motherhood, entrepreneurship. It's a very modern kind of fame package.
Let's go back to the lips again. That whole sequence, the speculation, the denial, the admission, then bam, Kylie Cosmetics. It all stemmed from that personal thing.
It's probably the clearest example of her turning personal scrutiny into a massive business opportunity. It was kind of genius in a way, and incredibly impactful.
Absolutely. And how her lip kits just changed the beauty landscape. Other brands rushing to copy, influencers building careers using her products. Trendsetter doesn't quite cover it.
No, she drove the trends. That matte liquid lip look became ubiquitous because of her. She fundamentally shifted the market.
And her marketing approach, using herself, her social media, that direct connection. We talked about it, but it revolutionized how beauty products were sold.
Totally. Influencer marketing basically went mainstream partly because of her success. Other celebrities, other brands, they all followed that model. She showed how powerful it could be.
But it's not uncomplicated, is it? That influence on beauty standards. There's the empowerment angle, the boldness.
But also the real concern about the pressure, especially on young girls, to look a certain way, maybe get procedures to achieve that Kylie look. It's a valid criticism.
And how does she respond to that? The source mentions her talking about self-expression, her own self-esteem journey, trying to add nuance.
Yeah, emphasizing that beauty is more than skin deep. It suggests she's aware of the conversation and trying to navigate it, balancing the brand with a message of self-acceptance.
We should also mention the philanthropy, the source notes.
Right. Support for things like the Australian wildfires, hospitals during COVID, women entrepreneurs, mental health awareness. It adds another layer to the public image.
And just how she changed celebrity culture itself, making it more personal, more accessible through reality TV and social media. That feeling fans have of knowing her.
It's that modern paradox, isn't it? That curated intimacy. It feels close, but it's still carefully managed. She perfected that model.
But that level of constant exposure, maintaining that perfect image, it takes a toll. The source mentions her needing breaks, setting boundaries for her own well-being.
You have to, I imagine. The pressure must be immense. Finding ways to protect your personal life becomes crucial.
And again, motherhood seems like a guiding force now. Wanting to be a role model for Stormy and Air, emphasizing kindness, strength.
It feels like a core part of her identity and her message these days.
And the sheer scale of her influence, over 390 million Instagram followers by 2024. It's mind-boggling.
It's more than just numbers, like the source says. It's about sparking emotions,
Yeah.
driving conversations globally.
So the takeaway from this chapter is pretty clear. She's undeniably changed beauty, fame, business, turned her life into this massive cultural brand.
No question. And the curiosity about what's next, fashion, wellness, whatever, just keeps her relevant.
And that adaptability we talked about. That seems key to why she's still so successful.
Absolutely crucial. The ability to pivot, learn, evolve. That's likely the secret sauce to her staying power.
Right, let's wrap up with Chapter 5, Lessons from Kylie's Journey. Taking a step back, what can we all maybe learn from this story beyond just celebrity stuff?
Yeah, what are the broader takeaways, things you could apply to your own life or work?
Okay, first up, confidence. How she tackled her insecurities, especially about her lips, and turned it into the foundation for her business. That took guts.
It really did. Turning a vulnerability into a strength, believing in her idea enough to build something huge from it.
And taking risks. She was only 18. No formal business training, relying on instinct, understanding her audience.
And it paid off massively right from that first launch. It shows that sometimes you just have to go for it, even if you don't have everything figured out. Passion and intuition can count for a lot.
Then the family dynamics. Obviously a huge platform to start from, but also huge pressure, that self-made debate.
Yeah, it's complex. She definitely leveraged the platform, but she also built her own distinct thing on top of it. And family, especially being a mother, seems really central to her now.
And that illusion of perfection online. Her life looks flawless on Instagram, but she's admitted to anxiety, body image issues, dealing with criticism.
Such an important reminder for everyone. Social media is curated. It's not the full reality, even for someone like Kylie Jenner.
Exactly. Social media versus reality. She's even talked about editing photos, planning content, and sometimes encouraging people to accept themselves beyond those online ideals.
Which is a valuable message, especially given her influence, acknowledging the artifice behind the image.
Adaptability and resilience, too. Constantly evolving the business, listening to customers, learning from mistakes, expanding. That applies anywhere, doesn't it?
Totally. Things change fast in business, in life. You have to be willing to adjust, learn, and keep moving. That seems core to her story.
And maybe a move towards authenticity, being more open about struggles, motherhood, making her more relatable.
It seems like she's understood the power of that connection. Sharing a bit more vulnerability can actually strengthen your bond with people.
So the chapter really brings it back to you, the listener, encouraging you to believe in yourself, maybe start small, keep learning, use the resources you have, share your own ideas.
Yeah, the core ideas, confidence, taking smart risks, adapting, trying to be authentic, those are pretty universal principles, right? They apply whether you're building a global brand or just pursuing your own personal goals.
And that final point, inspiration isn't just about wealth or fame. It's seeing that big things often start small, with an idea and perseverance, just taking that first step.
Exactly. It kind of demystifies huge success. It's often about
Yeah.
showing up, doing the work, and sticking with it.
Okay, wow. We have covered a lot of ground in this deep dive on Kylie Jenner.
We really have.
So just to quickly recap, we went through her unique family background, growing up on reality TV, the incredible launch and growth of Kylie Cosmetics and her other brands, and her huge complex influence on beauty, marketing, and celebrity culture.
And we pulled out some key lessons, too, about confidence, taking risks, the illusion of social media perfection, the importance of adaptability, and that ongoing journey towards authenticity.
All right, so here's something for you to chew on after we finish up. Kylie Jenner has shown this amazing knack for spotting trends, capitalizing on them, and connecting directly with this enormous audience. So thinking about today's world, what emerging shifts, maybe in culture, maybe in technology, do you think could offer similar kinds of opportunities for the next generation of innovators? What's the next big wave?
That's a great question. It forces you to think about where things are heading, what the unmet needs or desires are, and how new platforms or cultural moments might create openings, just like social media did for Kylie.
We definitely encourage you to keep exploring these ideas. Maybe look more into how social media marketing keeps changing, or the ongoing debate about celebrity influence on beauty, or even check out the stories of other young entrepreneurs.
Yeah, her story's a really interesting lens for looking at much bigger trends in our culture and in business today. There's always more to unpack.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.